Hi there and welcome. On this video we're taking a closer look at the Majestic, later to become an Odeon, in Bishop Auckland in County Durham, UK. So we'd better get going. A large freestanding cinema in Tenters Street, designed by in-house architect Joshua Clayton, the Majestic opened on the 21st of November 1938 as an independent cinema with 1,385 seats in stalls and balcony. It was a very wide cinema with a proscenium width of 40 feet, making it ideally suited for CinemaScope, which was to be installed in later years. The Majestic Cinema had two sister cinemas, one in Darlington, which had a small stage plus restaurant and Compton organ, and the other in Hartlepool, and they were both named Majestic. The cinema was opened by the chairman of Bishop Auckland Urban District Council, a Mr H. Lee Dale, and among the guests was the Mayor of Darlington, John Dughill. The design of the Majestic was very ahead of its time, being fan-shaped and very wide, with the seats per row being around 50. That's wide by any standards. The Northern Echo newspaper said of the Majestic on opening day, "The style is modern, relying for effect on good proportions rather than fussy ornamentation. The entrance hall is simple but effective. The walls and ceiling have been sprayed with plastic paint in warm tones of beige, relieved by a variety of bright tints and gold. Black ebonised woodwork, coloured terrazzo floor, rubber-covered staircases and cleverly concealed lighting are among the other attractive features." The Majestic featured the latest Western Electric mirrorphonic sound equipment and a ventilation system that apparently introduced 1 million cubic feet of fresh air every hour, making the atmosphere inside, they say, purer than the outside, despite the smoking cinema-goers. The Majestic was seen by many as the best of the cinemas in the immediate area. Now bought by Oscar Dutz's chain of Odeon theatres on the 12th of March 1944, the Majestic was renamed Odeon on the 2nd of April 1946. Now the release pattern in the town was strange, as not all Odeon releases played at the Majestic, but seemed to be shared with the Isolde, the Hippodrome. Here is the Isolde Hippodrome, currently a bingo hall with a suspended ceiling hiding some of the original architecture of the theatre. Recently, a local man, Michael O'Neill, was given access to the upper level and discovered original seating in what was the old Isolde balcony. He also discovered artefacts from a bygone era. With consent of the bingo owners, he has cleaned the upstairs and opened a Bishop Auckland museum within the premises. The Isolde, at least in part, is preserved. Still looking at release patterns, just about all of the ABC releases, that's MGM and Warner Brothers, played at the King's, which was another Isolde house. Now the Eden Theatre, when not live, played split-week second runs a lot of the time. The photo shows the derelict auditorium of the Eden prior to demolition. What a history this old place had, not least the fact that Stan Laurel's father, Arthur Jefferson, had been owner-manager of the Eden Theatre twice. The family, including Stan Laurel, lived in a house just across the road from the theatre. Many famous stars also appeared at the Eden, including Julie Andrews. Now on the site of the Eden Theatre there's a statue to Bishop Auckland's famous son, Stan Laurel, or by real name Arthur Stanley Jefferson. Back to the Odeon once again, and in the 1960s the manager was Walter Aylen, an ex-Gaumont man who had started at the Palace Sunderland. His predecessor, Jock Rogers, had left and went on to work for Isolde. Now initially in Whitley Bay, before transferring to nearby Durham City, where the cinema was very busy but not nearly as good as his former Bishop Auckland Odeon. Now this is a presentation photo, front of house 1967. The manager, Walter Aylan, on the far left, together with local assistant manager Thora Johnson, presents second projectionist Alan Smith with a going away present upon his transfer to the management side of Rank Theatres. Alan Smith actually started at another local, Shildon Isolde. Sadly, whilst based at the Gaumont Bournemouth in 1972, he drowned in a boating accident. The Odeon was twinned in 1973 by adding a 123-seat mini auditorium in the rear stalls under the circle. Now, the plans were originally to have 2 mini screens in the rear stalls, but the local council insisted that there should be a passageway between the 2 mini auditoria and not just a dividing wall. Lack of width precluded this, and consequently only the 1 extra screen was added. Sadly, I could find no photos of this. The remainder of the rear stalls and all of the front stalls were thereafter disused. The 600-seat screen 1 in the former circle continued to be served by the original screen on the original stage. The new total seating capacity was 723, down from the original 1,385. In late 1975, Walter Aylan sadly passed away and Jim Stewart was appointed as manager. Jim went to the new Odeon in Stockton when Bernie Goldthorpe died, and Doris Hart, a former AM at Darlington and Deputy GM at Sunderland Odeon, took over after briefly managing Hartlepool Odeon. Doris transferred to Coventry Odeon, ex-Gaumont, when the Bishop Auckland Cinema was placed on death row, and local assistant manager Valerie Tarrin became acting manager until the Odeon met its untimely demise in October 1983. It should never have closed when it did, for like most UK cinemas at the time, it had recorded a marginal loss for that financial year, but a new CEO of Rank Theatres saw this as justification for closure, having gone on record as saying that he did not want representation in small towns like Bishop Auckland. In the later days, the projectors at the Odeon were Kaylee 21s, and the chief was Alan Worthy, who went to the ABC Darlington when the Bishop Auckland Odeon closed. Now, it is very sad that the Rank organisation saw fit to close the Odeon on the 15th of October 1983, as its operating loss was only a small £10,000 in 82. Ironically, in the same week that the Odeon closed, a brand new shopping centre and bus concourse opened right next door to the cinema. Now, the Odeon stood derelict for a long time and was dangerous when demolished in April 1995. A planned nightclub in the building never came to fruition, and the replacement building on the site became an Aldi superstore. Well, that's it for this one. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. That helps me a lot. And I'll see you soon for another video. Till then, look after yourselves, be nice to each other, and see you then. Ta-da.